Welcome back to Force Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about EVFM again. So I'm going to go through technical analysis, news, and what I think about the stock. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave your notifications on. Let's jump right into it. So on a 1 week perspective, what we get to see here is an MACD that looks like it's actually curving upwards in a positive reversal. That is amazing. The ADX here shows in a bit more sloppy action. Volume percent R puts this one at overbought for second week in a row. Although volume seems to be actually getting in tractions, volume is increasing. That is a really good news. Unbalanced volume looks like it's actually recovering pretty nicely. It still hasn't been the highest, but it's one of the highest points it has been in 1 week perspective. Moving averages looks all bearish all through the way, but once it breaks the 361, moving average trading action zone of the bearish one would break through. So let's take a look into the 1 day perspective. Try to determine a bit more on the intraday's perspective. Moving average is turning from bearish to bullish. So the 10 SMA is about to cross the 30 EMA, and that is a bullish move. Stock price is above the 50 SMA, and that's bullish. The only thing that's below it right now is below the 200 SMA. Now, ADX shows that there is a possibility of a trend forming in the future, which is amazing. Volume percent R puts this one still at overbought, going on to neutral. Momentum seems to be strong. Now the MACD has gone towards a positive reversal. Now the only thing here is that on a Friday, usually there's a Friday sell-off, kind of seen a little bit of resistance. Kind of was curving a little bit downwards, or it looks like it might have met the peak on the histogram. That's a dangerous sign, and volume has dipped down below on Friday. But that needs a confirmation on Monday to see basically what's going to happen next. If it does get a bearish kicker, other than basically the doji star that we have today, then that is a bearish sign. Now, a 1 hour perspective, what we get to see here is that, this is just merely for the next few hours, and what we get to see here is that 10 SMA is above 30 EMA, price is above 50 SMA and 200 SMA, so it looks decent. ADX here shows that there's a very strong trend here. Volume percent R puts it overbought, momentum looks stable, and we get to see an MACD that is probably curving upwards from what it looks like. Now, moving averages, we get to see it's actually above the moving average band. So we're looking at 269 on the top, middle 243, and 221 on the bottom, but it's actually curving upwards. Now, if we look into the stochastic fast, we get to see that's actually at the peak, and that's a very dangerous level. Even though it has been for the 5th of October, and ever since then it actually went on and got a bit more from 2.59 to 2.9. So that is usually an indication that, hey, you might want to sell this level because it might dip a little, even if the dip is just barely seen, like here from let's see, here to here, or even here to back to here. That's considered a decline. Stochastic slope gives us the same thing, that this might be a dangerous level to be holding in or even buying. Now, taking a quick look into Fibonacci retracements, 273 is the current support, 323 is the current resistance on the Fibonacci retracement, 364 is the next resistance, and 404 is the next resistance. Now, let's take a quick look into significant supports and resistances for the stock. That's quite important for us to determine which ones are looking at. A significant support that I don't want to see a break is 80. Below that, there's another one that is still quite significant to 274. 274 is a strong historical support, side with a 280. If it does break that, then we might be going all the way down to 263 or even 261. And beyond that, 250 to 249. I don't want to see it break that one either. And then a very strong one, what we're seeing is at the 236 mark. Now, if we were to look at resistance, what we get to see here is the 291 resistance, 298 resistance, 314, 319, 325, and we're looking at 331. Great. Now, in terms of trend lines, we don't have any significant trend line. I mean, other than the one that just literally got created with 2 points, so that doesn't give us a lot of significance unless you count that one as an anomaly. And then you hold it down to something like this, but that's not how we draw trend lines. Let's take a quick look into latest news. So this one here launched a Fexi product, and you'll find in the description below my previous DD on it. And from on there, it was buying the rumor, selling the news, and it continued to dip really hard. Now, they do have, for instance, they're presenting the data for the 2020 STD Prevention Virtual Conference from Phase 2B trial of EVA 100 to prevention of chlamydia and gonorrhea in women. Now, a lot of people forget what the actual what the actual company is. It's not just for the Phexxi product. So it's quite interesting to see their other products, and I still am very bullish on this company. Even though it did see a massive drop, in the long term, I think this one would actually still see benefit out of it. In terms of the buzz here, the main buzz coming around is that sales should be good for October. So you always got to know what others are talking about. You want to know what others are thinking. That is the catalyst, and you want to see, well, is there any hidden catalyst coming? That is quite important. Now, there's a bunch of conferences, for instance, Society of Planning, SFP an annual meeting, Nurse Practitioners of Women Health NPWH annual healthcare happening on October 15th to 18th, American Society for Reproductive Medicine happening on the 17th, oral presentation at 11:10, and a poster at 4:30 to 6, and the ACO's G 2020 virtual conference at the end of the month. Now, there is the titles and everything in there, but basically it's probably going to be the same information over and over with a little bit of updates here and there. So I don't think that it's going to be seeing a massive jump in price for each of these conferences, but you never know. Pumpers can just get on it and just start running as if this is a new thing they're going to be launching, even though usually around conferences, nothing significant gets announced that is not put on SEC filings. Now let's move on. HCPs recognize the unmet need for prescription for non-hormonal options. So the baseline is not applicable, but the post allocation is 15%, the second highest to the oral contraceptives. HCPs lowered allocation for hormonal option from 74 to 64, and HCPs suggest more than 10% of women currently using oral contraceptives are potential candidates for switching to Phexxi. And so their strategy is educational videos, MOA videos, HCP website, rep leave behind, and patient resource. So on journal ads and banners, you're targeting in multiple kind of options. So from what I look into it, it's basically ACOGs, OBG managements, and they're partnering with other companies like Pharmacy Times, etc. Now, reaching HCPs with the best class and sales team, 70 women's health sales reps and regional managers, average experience of 15 years in pharma, with 8 years being in women's health, existing relationships, credibility, and access to healthcare providers. We're targeting around 3,500 accounts in the top 12K in the highest prescribing HCPs. We're talking about accounts, we're not talking about consumers, we're talking about pharmacies or other basically organizations that do prescribe it. So that's the most important thing you're looking at. A lot of people use accounts with customers, which aren't very much accurate in terms of the endpoint customers. Leverage HCP segmentations tools to quickly refine targets accounts based on customer response and business opportunities. You have, this is for basically the 70 women health and sales team. Looking at the internal sales team is engaging with 4,400 accounts or 8,000 HCP. Sell Phexxi via tele sales model to drive additional Phexxi sales. Partner on that is Archer Health. And it's basically some of the consumer omnichannel strategies basically going on through either emails, brochures, videos, etc., cards, coupons, and everything goes in between. And so the main thing looks like it's actually going for is to trigger people to try to see the product, try the product. That looks to be one of the most important things that is happening for this one. And they do have as well some sponsored additional partners, so that kind of looks exciting for the Phexxi product, and I'm glad to see that it's actually, they do have interesting results coming in through. I'm still interested to see basically the quarter results in terms of the money coming in for at least the next quarter. So quarter 3 results should include a bit more of the Phexxi results, at least at the start of the launch, and that would be kind of exciting to see. Now I believe that is why it's actually started to see the money coming in, especially with the peak gross revenue going on from 1.4 to 2.2 billion, although I think that's still going to come in later on in the time, but it's still exciting to see the kind of the start of the straws into this one. Institutional buyers, we get to see they're actually bullish on this one. On the 9th, well, even they bought 46 shares. I'm not sure if that is accurate because it says the value is $0. We still have on December added to fund classes. Now, purchases from insiders, they bought, I believe, well, around 4,000 shares, but the last one is around 208. If you look into previous purchases, 299, 285, 294, 314, 350, so it's still below what the insiders have bought. And that is something interesting for me, just because if the insiders bought at that level, they might think that, you know, the price was good at that level, which we're talking about this region here. This is dropped, this must have been a steal, and we get to see that that is the case. Still quite bullish on this stock, although here is what I think is going to happen in this stock. Long term, this one is solid. After the Fexi products, the different research comes up and everything, as long as they don't do an offering, which I don't see them doing an offering, they're actually bringing revenue. Once they come in more on the higher profitability scale, I think this one would rally a lot. The Q3 results or even Q4 results would be really interesting to see. Now, the two concerns is on the stochastic analysis is that it's actually looks like it's in a dangerous level, although it can be dangerous for quite a little, and that's fine, or a very tiny pullback. What we get to see as well on the 1-day perspective is that it's actually looking like it might actually be curving down. That is as well dangerous for us. So for me, long term, I think this is an amazing stock to be in. Short term, I do think there might be a little bit of full pullback, but it looks like it's an uptrend. So you get to see up, 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 pull back, up, 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 pull back, up, maybe pull back next, and then so that's an uptrend. What do you think about this sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. Have a wonderful day.